Good morning. It's not 7:30 or 6:30 for that matter, and I am not on my way to Glasgow. I'm actually on my way to the solicitors in Kirkcaldy to sign the documentation because my wife and I have just bought our own house. Woohoo! Good times. And yes, I am actually married. My wife is sitting right behind me. I don't know if she wants to wave, probably not. Now everyone's going to think I'm a liar. Great. Thank you. Suddenly she's gone all shy. Oh wait a minute, no she's not. And I've got my little girl just behind the camera. No, she's not asleep, she's actually looking out the window. But yeah, so on the way to Kirkcaldy, sign forms, bought house. Good times. Yeah, so I haven't been making my way, I've been doing self-study and just packing and more packing. It's fun, and it's annoying now because usually we have like, quite a few glasses, and every time I use my glass now I have to wash it. It's like, oh no, can't just be that little bit lazy and let a couple of glasses sit there. Nah, I've actually got to be, not lazy anymore, which is going to be a shock. You stay over there, please.
You're also the wrong lane.
No, I'm not. Oh my god, you have my wife. Who, by the way, is the world's worst back driver. Backseat driver, sorry. Yeah. On our way to Kirkcaldy. As you can see, the motorway. Well, no, you can't. You can only see me. Shocking. So what can I talk about today? Well, I've got a couple of topics of conversation I want to talk about today, but obviously I won't be able to talk very long because we're only going to Kirkcaldy, not Kincardine, which is where I normally start the video, which normally takes about 24 to 26 minutes. Yes, I'm sad I watch these things. Well, I don't watch these things, I always take a note of the time. Yeah, one thing I want to talk about today is something I literally just saw on the road. It was like a Mazda people carrier, but it was a sporty version.
Mazda 5.
Yeah, Mazda 5. Oh my god, you heard her again. Mazda 5 people carrier, but it was a sport version. So for all those mums out there who take that little bit longer to get ready in the morning, like my wife, sorry.
You're lucky you're driving.
For all those mums out there that take that little bit longer to get going in the morning, or if it's just a case of the kids not being entirely cooperative, not looking at anyone in particular, actually no, she's very good, then it's a little bit faster. It's a sport after all. Although I don't see what difference it's going to make on UK roads, because it's like, oh my god, I'm late, but I'll manage to get to 30 mile an hour or 20 mile an hour that little bit quicker. Yeah, that works. Big benefit there. But then again, maybe sporty, so it's got slightly stiffer suspension and things like that, so you'll be able to maybe corner a bit quicker. So by the time you get to school, there's tyre marks all around the roundabouts, there's cars in heaps on the pavement, avoiding them, and then the kids sitting in the front going, and by the time they actually get to maybe their third class of the day, they can start talking again. So, maybe not the best idea to get sport. Anyway, for all the people running late in the morning, going to school, there are sport versions for you. What else can we talk about today? A quick comparison I want to make between, this is only after watching the Indy 500, which by the way was tragically hilarious because Fernando Alonso, as you know, drives for McLaren Honda. It's put it this way, it's this bad. I can sit watching Formula 1 or reading about the Formula 1 and I can shout up to the wife, go, alright, someone's engine's just blown up. Who is it? Fernando Alonso. Right, in one. Yeah, it's tragically hilarious. And then obviously he goes to the Indy 500 as a rookie. He's doing brilliant. He actually had the fastest average lap time until his engine blew up. His Honda engine blew up. I'm sorry, but it's It's even more tragic because a Honda engine actually won the race with Takuma Sato. It's like, ooh. It's like the old deck chair, you know, where would Fernando Alonso rather be? I don't know where he can be where he can't avoid a Honda. Poor guy. Maybe he has to go to the moon. The next manned mission to the moon, Fernando Alonso. There you go. No Honda there. Unless Honda make any other components, then he's completely screwed. Poor guy. But yeah, quick comparison between or just motor racing drivers in general, and those big sissies, also known as footballers. Because let's face it, a footballer is on the field, he's running, he's fell. What did he fall over? Was there a blade of grass a millimetre too long? Or did an ant make its way onto the pitch and trip him up? Or is there a sniper in the crowd? Well, they fall over at the briefest hint of a fart. They fart themselves and then they'll fall over injured. I mean, really? They are the biggest sissies in the world, and yet you get your motor racing drivers. One of my favourite examples, which is a bit tragic because it's actually Michael Schumacher, when he crashed in 1999 and broke his leg at Silverstone, the first words he said to the doctor, I forgot the doctor's name now, but the first word he said to the doctor when he arrived at the scene were, "Can you tell Karina, his wife, it's just a broken leg, I'm okay." If that had been a footballer, he'd have been drowning in his own tears. It's crazy. And yet, Michael Schumacher's sitting there, he's probably twiddling his thumbs, knowing him. And he's sitting there going, "Oh, I've just got a broken leg, it's fine." Even if that was me, I'd be crying. I mean, I nearly ended up crying once getting this Japanese equivalent of a flu jab type thing. Oh!
Japanese influenza.
Yeah, that one. Oh, because I was meant to be going out to South Korea once, but that didn't happen. Which was funny because my wife and I had actually just watched the film Olympus Has Fallen, which is obviously, you know, North Korea again, a bit angsty. And so obviously there was the inevitable conversation, "Oh my God, you're not going out there, are you? Oh my God." No, I'm sorry, but the only way I'd go out there is if I was getting involved in this new project, and that's not going to happen. They've got their own crew.
No, your exact words.
They've got their own crew. Sorry.
No, your words were, "I'll never be posted out in Korea."
Yeah, I'll never be posted out to Korea. And I kid you not, the very next morning, I get a phone call saying, "Oh, can you go out to Korea?" Oh, that was a fun conversation with the wife. That was a fun one. I think I got myself behind 2 doors before I said that, just to be safe. But yeah, that was a fun one. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent there. I forgot where I was now. Anyway, back to IndyCar drivers and motor racing drivers in general. There was another one where it was in the late 1980s, and it was Martin Brundle, who's the Sky Sports F1 commentator now. He had a massive crash at Monaco. Yeah, I think he was driving a Tyrrell, and he literally ended up landing on his head in the car. You know, the car was upside down. He was pretty much scraping along on his head, and so he gets out the car, you know, jogs back to the pit lane, gets in the spare car, and he was about to go out onto the track again until it got to the point where he sat there and calmly spoke to his race engineer and goes, "What track are we at again?" So needless to say, he was like, "Undo the seatbelt, out you get." Like that, you know. And my final example is going back to the Indy 500. Scott Dixon. He had one of the most horrific crashes I have seen in a long time. I mean, the car, it got to the point where you actually see a replay of another car driving underneath him, and Scott Dixon's up in the air going, "Hi!" Or in that case, I think it was more, "Ah!" If this video was half an hour long, I'd still be screaming. He must have been terrified. And it was just so scary because the car actually landed on a concrete wall on the airbox not far behind his head. I mean, these new Dallara DW12s, I don't know if they're still called that, but they were when they initially came out, Dallara DW12s, and they're called the W12 because of Darren Weldon, who was tragically killed in 2011. Was it 2011? Yeah, it was 2011. And it's tragic because these new cars are designed in such a way to reduce the likelihood that they'll go flying up in the air. Try telling that to Scott Dixon, who probably had enough time to get a quick pint of beer and write a will before he landed again. But yeah, it was a rather scary crash, and yet, what, 10 minutes later, he's calmly doing an interview. I'm sorry, but that on me, I'd be in a blooming cold, dark room, rocking back and forth. Sheesh. You know, these drivers, they get a lot of money because they earn it. You know, they're not some poncy footballer. You know, they earn their money because they are actually quite brave and they really do risk their lives. I mean, look at poor Billy Munger. You know, he's got both his legs amputated because of that horrific accident at Donington Park in the British F4. I mean, I watched that live and it was a case of I was sitting down in my living room and I blurted out, "Holy excrement," you know, and the wife's like, "Whoa, what was that?" I mean, it gave me a fright watching this thing live on TV. It was a horrific crash. It took like over nearly 2 hours, even more, to get him out of the car. Crazy. But anyway, we are in Kirkcaldy now. I am about to stop, so you will no longer have to suffer listening to me yippity yapping.
Oh, they get away, I don't.
My wife loves me, as you can tell.
I do.
Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. That is all from me. Oh my god, look, it's only 12 minutes. Bye.